supporting it with hope, our inflation rate has been very high, and for the first time in our lives, debt exchanges have become the language of everyday conversation. As such, Mr. Speaker, and concentrate predominantly on the economy, which will enable me nonetheless also to make some statements about the state of our agriculture, education, energy, health, infrastructure. This is not the growth of our country, but I believe the exigencies of the moment justify the position I would take to provide official updates. I have said COVID was doing well until COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine. This is how we heard. Hazard has to record me. I will be heard. Maybe because of this, maybe because to accept that we were on the good trajectory until the arrival of COVID-19. The Ghanaian people, however, accepted this proposition as evident. Now, Mr. Speaker, allow me to go on a short trip down memory lane and remind ourselves what things look like back at the beginning of 2020 when I came to this house to give an account on this. Is what I Mr. Speaker, in 3 years, we've reduced inflation to its lowest level, 7.8% in January 2020, since 1992. For the first time in over 40 years, we've had a fiscal deficit years in a row. For the first time in over 20 years, has been in surplus for 3 consecutive years. For any first-term government in the Fourth Republic. Our economic growth has rebounded to place Ghana among the fastest growing economies of 7% GDP growth, up from 3.4% in 2016, the lowest. Honorable members, 3K.
May we listen in silence. It's my duty to protect our desk.
The international investor community has recognized the development of foreign direct investment in West Africa. That was where we were at the end of February 2020. 3 weeks after this speech, in which I on the difficulties they were having with the new virus, our world arrived in our country and in the rest of the world with a vengeance. Within weeks, the world was brought to its knees. Our economy, like much of the rest of the world, went into a tailspin. We took many decisions, and we did many things which, according to the science, were the most reliable and trusted ways to say necessary today, but but that is from the safe perspective of not waking up to check on the COVID-19 infection or death rate. Indeed, there were some who suggested that we cancel and even postpone the 2020 general elections. Who would have thought that today anybody would be questioning the fumigation of schools and markets? I recall vividly the most eminent physicians and other scientists on the urgency of fumigating all public spaces, including offices, schools, hospitals, markets, churches, and mosques. Fumigated their own homes. Today, the science might be that such measures make no difference to the decision to undertake such measures. Mr. Speaker, you might remember that we could not produce Veronica buckets fast enough. Today, it is not an obligatory item on anyone's list of purchases. In dealing with the crisis generally, I did not meet anyone brave enough to suggest that considerations of money should be a hindrance to anything we needed to do in the fight against the virus. I was, and I am grateful that the people of Ghana rose to the occasion, and together we went through the crisis and came out well by defying the doomsday predictions about the inevitability of dead bodies on our streets. The wisdom and help their expertise, time, and energy to the fight against the virus. And I thank those who contributed to the COVID-19 fund that was set up to help us meet some of the expenditures. The economic consequences from the pandemic have been devastating. Mr. Speaker, it is precisely because the economic fallout from the pandemic is so widespread and long-lasting that it is important to show clearly that the COVID-19 funds were not misused. It is critical that we do not lose the confidence of the people that a crisis that we led to believe we were all in together was abused for press. Asked for the COVID funds to be audited, and I can assure this House that nothing dishonorable was done with the COVID funds. The responses from the Ministers for Health and Finance on January 23rd and 25th, 2023, respectively, have sufficiently laid to rest the queries from the auditor. Objectives ministries would justify this conclusion. We did provide 518 million cedis of grants and loans to micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises through the NBSSI, now the Ghana Enterprise Agency, in which 302,515 enterprises benefited, of which 60% were women-owned. These were MSMEs that were in distress as a result of the pandemic. For some traders, the receipt of 1,000 CDs made the difference between the... In addition, 58,041 health workers were empowered to supplement the existing health sector workforce. Subsequently, all of them have been absorbed as permanent workers in the health sector. Frontline health workers were also granted 50%. Was that something to regret for people that hear of the government's support for utility bills, was so beloved of some commentators, profligate. Mr. Speaker, the government took a deliberate decision to try our lives down to a minimum in the education sector by opening schools and not universally popular. But faced with the prospect of a whole generation of our children losing irreplaceable years of education, them dropping out of school, however, forever, we took the brave decision to open the institution and to the predictable pre-COVID calendar. After the event and other logistics it took to keep the schools open through hell and damnation, when according to them, the children start dying in the school. I would like to suggest that with the best will in the world, Mr. Speaker, no officer can put a figure on the cost of keeping the children in the school safely during that crisis. Not on our young, not the emotional costs, and certainly not the social costs. But we must thank the Almighty that we have survived to repair the damage and begin to rebuild our economy. Beyond the use of COVID funds, there are legitimate questions being asked about how the country's debt situation got to where it is. Mr. Speaker, let me state emphatically that we have not been reckless in borrowing and in spending.
Honorable members, it's not yet your time to say, wait until that time arrives. Please, honorable members, I will allow spontaneous, debate of the statement.
Noting that the debts we're serving were not only contracted during the period of this administration. Mr. Speaker, we have spent money on things that are urgent to build people and equip them to face a competitive world. Considering the amount of work that still needs to be done on the state of our roads, the bridges that have to be built, considering the number of classrooms that need to be built, the furniture and equipment needs at all stages of equipment, of education, considering the number of children who should be in school and are not, considering the number of towns and villages that still do not have access to potable water. I dare say no one can suggest we have overborrowed or spent recklessly. Yes, I've been in a hurry to get things done. And this includes massive developments in agriculture, education, health, irrigation, roads, rails, ports, airports, sea defense, digitization, social protection programs, industrialization, and tourism. We can be justifiably proud in the past 6 years. As I go around the country, I hear the pleas for more roads, schools, hospitals, and as the rainy season comes, I would have, and I wish we have the resources to do more. But Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of this number of questions asked in this House by members of Parliament monies we borrow are for road construction. Shall we dare stop constructing roads? Mr. Speaker, I would like to say categorically that this government has built more roads than any government in the history of the Fourth Republic. And Mr. Speaker, the details of all these roads are attached in the annex to this message. Because last year when I made a similar pronouncement from the minority benches, and so I thought this time to present it as an annex to the statement. Mr. Speaker, has implemented successfully a national identification system with a Ghana card. Constructible ways with any government in the Fourth Republic. Zongo Development Fund to address the needs of Zongo and inner city communities. And under the auspices, we have conducted more infrastructure in the Zongo communities than any other. Constructed more NCA licensed fiber optic cable than any other government in the Fourth Republic. 90%, 93% of the total. Increase the proportion of the population with access to toilet facilities from 33% to 59%. Increase the number of public libraries from 61 from independence until 2017 to 115 in 2022. In the Fourth Republic. We have successfully implemented the digital address system and anti-corruption institutions like the Ministry of Justice and Office of the Attorney General, the National Commission for Civic Education, SWAG, ILUCO, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Implemented the One District, One Factory initiative. In 4 years, 106 companies are in operation. This is the largest expansion of that sector since independence. Constructed more fish landing sites than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Established Africa's first national electronic pharmacy platform. Provided free Wi-Fi to 700 senior district education officers. Successful pilot of 13 public universities. Introduced drones in the delivery of critical medicine, vaccines, and blood to people in remote parts of the country. And today, Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery service in the world. With zipline distribution centers in Ominako, Ketekrachi, and Enum. In revenue collection, with the introduction of an e-invoicing system. For example, figures from 19 tax-paying companies onboarded onto the EVAT system revealed total recorded monthly sales increase billion CDs in November 2020, 20 million saved. No district. I would like at this stage to engage the IMF on the program. Mr. Speaker, December 2022, after 5 months of intense negotiation, Mr. Speaker, I thank the House for its support throughout this. However, the excise duty and excise tax stamp amendment attention of the House action for our presentation to the Fund Board, and more importantly, bolster our domestic revenue. Speaker, it is clear that given the extent of the fiscal adjustment and structural reforms are not sufficient for restoration of debt sustainability. A critical component of the measures were implemented to both domestic debt and external debt, turning the country to debt ratio on a general classification basis and in present value terms, 103% in 2022 to 55% by 2012. The participation rate of 85%, representing tendered bonds, constitutes significant success for the DDE program. The 83 billion CDs organized labor, pensioners, pension fund managers, the Ghana Association of Banks, the Ghana Securities Industry Association, the Ghana Insurance Association, the Individual Bondholders and Retirees Forum, and all others who have contributed to make the domestic debt exchange program a success. Mr. Speaker, I know it has been said over the fact that the government is committed to honor categories of external debt to ensure an orderly restructuring. This suspension is an interim emergency measure toward a comprehensive external debt operation which will contribute to debt treatment under the G20 Common. Appreciation to members to establish an official credit committee. We look forward to their fast-tracking the needed financing assurances for IMF approval. We are confident that with their cooperation, we will reach our March deadline for going to the fund. In our vision to restore macroeconomic stability and promote inclusive growth. Mr. Speaker, government recognizes that sustained growth must be deliberate, especially in a global landscape marked by forces of technology, trade, and intense competition. It requires a combination of leadership, people. That is why together we're creating Ghana's medium-term growth drivers of competitiveness, integration, adaptation, and digital innovation, all aimed at raising per capita GDP from the current $2,500 to $4,500, aligning with the Ghana Beyond Aid Charter by 2020. Mr. Speaker, concluding the arrangements with the fund will not restore our fortunes overnight, but it will set us on the road to recovery. With fiscal discipline, we'll regain the trust and confidence of our business partners and the investor community, which will give us space to continue our productive plans and policies. However, in addition to our engagement with the fund, we're also seeking and implementing some original and innovative ideas to try to solve our problems. For example, the Gold Purchase program by the Bank of Ghana already bearing fruit. These policies are aimed at achieving two results that are critical to the health of our economy. Firstly, they will help us preserve foreign exchange, especially the US dollar. And secondly, they will enable us to stabilize the price of all products, such as petrol and diesel, on the domestic market. We have already seen some success and began to implement it. The average price of petrol at the pump, which had risen to 20 cedis a litre in the middle of December 2022, is now 30 cedis and 80 pesos a litre. The price of diesel had risen to more than 23 cedis and 70 pesos a litre, and is now selling on the average at 13 cedis and 80 pesos a litre, which is a reduction of all prices to reflect soon in our daily lives, since transport fares affect the price of everything. The trend of prices going up and down, going up and coming down, become a regular feature of our retail economy, as being demonstrated in the fuel prices. We all know prices, especially of petroleum products, used only to go up in our country. I do worry about the extraordinary expenditure on security at our borders, but we do not have a choice but to spend resources to keep our borders safe of our nation. And my first responsibility as your Commander-in-Chief is to keep all of us safe. It is safety and stability of our nation. The threats of terrorism and violence require that we pay maximum attention to protecting our borders and working in collaboration with our neighbors to keep our country and the region safe. This is a prime motive for the Accra Initiative, which is already yielding results. Mr. Speaker, I'm able to cite here some of the equipment we have provided the military to help them protect us all. Allow me to list some explosive and so on. Has taken delivery of 4 offshore security vessels and 4 Zodiac boats. We've also continued the military housing project phases 1 and 2, and the Ghana Military Academy infrastructure project are expected to be completed and handed this year. Mr. Speaker, we continue to pay attention to the police service. We can now see more of the police on our streets in the urban areas. Ever so gradually, driving on our roads is becoming more orderly. I note that even 504 housing units comprising 72 one-bedroom and 400 are delivered 100 pickups, 600 motorbicycles, and 6 armored personal carriers to the police service to boost operational capacity. For the first time in our nation's history, the police service has dedicated head. Mr. Speaker, I must share some good news with the House. I actually disgraceful problem of dilapidated and inadequate number of courts in our country. Many of the courts have not been fit for purpose and do not provide suitable facilities for the efficient administration of justice. The inmate of courthouses around the country, and I'm glad to inform the House that we are resolving this problem. Through the Ministry of Local Government and the District Assembly Common Fund, government has embarked on the construction of 120 courthouses with accompanying accommodation for judges across the country. Indeed, 60 have been completed. And for the first time ever, we have the happy situation of purpose-built courthouses are also being constructed in the new regions, i.e. Ahafo, East, Oti, Savannah, and Western. 3 of the courts, that is those in Northeast, Oti, and Savannah, have been completed and commissioned. Those in Ahafo, Bono East, and Western North regions will be completed by April. This week I had the President's duty on 17th October 2022 to commission a new modern Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, together with 20 townhouses and a guest house to serve as permanent residences for Court of Appeal judges based in Kumasi, who are mandated to handle appeals from the northern part of the country. The Asante Otunfo Setutu II, who generously gave the land, was present at the ceremony. It is a truly magnificent sight, and I recommend it to honorable members who go to Kumasi to pay a visit and see it for themselves. 2022, distributed to all judges in the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Higher Court, and Lower Courts. Mr. Speaker, it is a well-known fact that in this administration, TVET and STEM feature frequently in all conversations about education. Technical and vocational education are being given the place of honor they deserve. Since the realignment and introduction of free TVET, enrollment in TVET schools has increased from 13,000 in 2021 to 47,000 today. And all the indications are that this is a trend. It's stuff. The highest. I was told last week about one young person who was placed in Achimota School in the current school placement exercise and has turned it down to go to a STEM school. I think we are making progress. The strides we are making in education are already changing lives and changing the narrative. As of this year, nearly 2 million young people have benefited from the free SHS policy. Predictions that the policy would lead to a lowering of standards proved wide, very wide of the mark. On the contrary, the results under the free SHS have shown a systematic improvement. And as a result, 2 million young people have either found a way to further education, training, apprenticeships, or employment because of the free SHS policy. I'm proud of the additional educational infrastructure, especially the provision of ultra-modern classroom blocks for several schools, which are equipped with laboratories, ICT centers, and libraries. The establishment of 10 STEM centers across the country, including one in Accra, to aid the study of engineering and robotics. Construction has also started at the University of Agricultural Revenue and the Judicial Resources. We are all agreed that we need to do something about our huge import bill. Last year, I set up a 5-member ad hoc cabinet committee to work on a policy to enhance domestic production and export development with a fourfold strategy. 2. 1. Reduce the country's import bill in the short, medium, and long term. Enhance domestic, generate widespread employment opportunities. And 4. Diversify and expand our export capacity to Africa and beyond, especially through the vehicle of the African Continental Free Trade Area. In 2021, Ghana's total import bill was put to $13.7 billion United States dollars, according to GRA items. On the evidence of existing local productive capacity, we have identified a list of 20 priority products in the categories of primary agricultural products, processed foods, and manufactured goods, where we can confidently enhance domestic production. Amongst these are rice, fish, pharmaceuticals, detergents, insulated wire, ceramic products, corrugated paper and paperboard, cement and clinker, and motor vehicles. The report on the implementation of modalities to enhance domestic productive capacity in these products has been prepared, and once confirmed with your approval, the new Minister for Trade and Industry will roll out urgently a series of initiatives to implement the youth and women, seeks to support young entrepreneurs to gain access to capital market training and technical skills, compliance and quality assurance support, and business development support services that will enable them start, build, and grow their own businesses. Mr. Speaker, the Youth Start program was successfully piloted in 2022, the initial 1.98 million CDs. Subsequently, a total of 288,800 applications have been received and are being processed by the Ghana Enterprise Agency for full operation. In the private sector, we continue to explore the use of public-private partnership arrangements as a financing alternative to the delivery of critical public infrastructure, such as the Accra-Tema motorway extensions, Accra-Takoradi motorway, and the Sogankopilone transboundary water supply projects. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the $750 million United States Afro-Exim Bank facility, which has been secured, will make it possible for us to construct many other roads and interchanges, including the long-awaited 4-tier Swami interchange. Mr. Speaker, we have now reached a point where we feel the impact of technology as an irreversible way of life. We have digitized many processes. The Ghana card has become a one-stop shop for Ghanaian identity and its usages. We are fully convinced that our embrace of an investment in information technology and the digital infrastructure will help us to redefine our traditional concepts of time, space, speed, and nature of consuming technology. Society to be integration within the whole economy and society. We have integrated many processes within the digital environment, and for this, we have to recognize the efforts of many component parts of the government, such as the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, the National Identification Authority, and especially the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahood Bawumia, who I understand has been nicknamed E. Bawumia. Our need for technological reinforcement within all our structures and place spaces unending, and we will continue to push the frontiers of our engagement with the technologies of information, economic development, and human transformation. The National Health Insurance Scheme to make access easier. The scheme is currently one of the better digitalized institutions, and I hope they get the public support that they need. I note in particular with satisfaction that they have developed a self-enrollment mobile application, MyNE, and this application enables registration and renewal for oneself and others by linking NHIS cards to Ghana cards. In 2022, over 5 million members' data was linked to their Ghana card to enable them to access health care using the card. The National Health Insurance Authority has also improved its claim management processes with an emphasis on e-claims and paperless systems at all 4 claims processing centers. In the year under review, electronic claims processing was about 70% of all claims submissions. The scheme paid a total of 1.014 billion CDs to health service providers. Mr. Speaker, our drone delivery service is firmly established. In Ghana now has 6 centers for zipline drone services, making Ghana the largest aerial logistics distribution network in the world. Zipline delivery services has delivered some 14.8 million units of life-saving medicals, vaccines, and blood products to health facilities in Ghana by the end of 2022. Childhood vaccines top the list with a delivery of 8.3 million doses, followed by 2.05 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Mr. Speaker, I must say, however, that the current shortage of some childhood vaccines in the country has concerned me greatly. This shortage, if prolonged, will affect us as one of the most successful in the world. The WHO has only recently expressed worry about the steady decline in measles vaccination coverage globally because of the concentration on the fight against COVID-19. In accordance with our desire not to become part of this global trend, stocks of these vehicles, vaccines are procured and supplied. Elaborate program to capture children who have missed their vaccine immediately stocks arrive. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage all parents and caregivers to ensure that eligible children are vaccinated once this program begins. No child should be denied access to vaccination. Mercifully so far, not a single child has died as a result of the outbreak. This House has already passed into law the National Vaccine Institute Bill, which is yet to be brought for my assent. In the near future, this institute will ensure that no matter what happens to the global vaccine supply chain, we can produce our own vaccines locally. Continues to prioritize agriculture, pandemic, and the Russia-Ukraine conflict justifies sufficiently our increased investment in the agricultural sector. Indeed, the sector recorded significant successes with an average growth rate of 6.28% from 2017 to 2021. This consistent growth over the period has translated into improved food security, job opportunities along agricultural value chains, and availability of raw materials for industry. To address the vexed issue of post-harvest losses, we constructed some 65 warehouses, with the remaining 15 at advanced stages of completion. This intervention is adding some 80,000 metric tons to national grain storage capacity. 29.9 million United States dollars worth of machinery and equipment have been procured from Brazil to preparatory works for establishing a tractor and backhoe loader assembly plant in the Ashanti region, and continued capacity building of operators to ensure effective management and prolong the lifespan of agricultural machinery. Mr. Speaker, the impact of climate change and variability on global agricultural activities is a call to all of us, and this is for sustainable agriculture and resilience against food insecurity. The government's response, among others, has been to continue to invest in irrigation infrastructure, both large and small scale, across the country. In 2022, government completed the rehabilitation and modernization of large-scale irrigation schemes at Tono, Bong, and Bong Left Bank projects. The three schemes are expected to provide 6,760 hectares of irrigable land for all year-round crop production. Phases 1 and 2 of the Tamna irrigation project have been completed, with phase 3 of the project at 57% completion. The most difficult stage of electricity provision around the country. The parts that are left are the very difficult to access area. The national electricity access rate increased from 79.3% in 2016 to 88% in Africa, and we're still expecting to achieve the 90% universal electricity rate by 2024. To reduce transmission system losses and voltage fluctuations, and to improve the overall quality of power supply, old lines are being replaced on the western, eastern, coastal, and middle corridors. It is worth noting that three stations have been reliability and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to inform the House that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has since the last quarter of 2022 embarked on an aggressive digital transformation program. In the first phase of this program, set to be completed by end of April 2023, the focus is on creating a cashless and efficient payment system. Announced on 1st March 2023, all ECG district offices became cashless. This is a major achievement by all standards. Since the start of this transformational program, we have so far seen a 25% increase in the monthly revenues. The second phase of the program will see the digitization of postpaid bills and the digital tagging of all meters. In our estimation, these initiatives should increase the monthly revenue. A first so boldly rolled out by ECG will make revenue leakage and address consumer pain points in their interactions with ECG. Mr. Speaker, we continue to fight against galamsey with the support of the security agencies in the short term. However, We're determined to promote responsible small-scale mining through community mining schemes. So far, 16 of these schemes have been commissioned, with 3 more to be commissioned by the end of this year. All these schemes are supported with gold catchers, pieces of equipment designed to help small-scale miners to extract gold from the ore without the use of mercury. In 2021, I launched the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. The program employs several youth in the production of seedlings and reclamation of degraded mine lands. Currently, reclamation is going over 1,000 hectares of degraded lands in Ashanti, Eastern, and Western North regions. Mr. Speaker, as a permanent member of the Security Council for the years 2022 and 2023, Ghana, as one of 3 non-permanent African members, is working to push the African agenda, which includes the fight against terrorism and the reform of the UN Security Council. I'm pleased to state that good progress is being made on the reform of the UN Security Council. A U.S. president, for the first time in the person of President Joe Biden and the French President Emmanuel, that the leaders of the 3 other P5 members of the Security Council will soon do the same and help bring about this much-needed reform that will bring greater effectiveness to the work of the United Nations and the Security Council in the maintenance of international peace and security. We continue to be active members of the African Union and ECOWAS and support strongly measures both bodies have taken against unconstitutional changes in government in our region. We're working with our partners in the region to strengthen regional cooperation in the fight against the terrorist menace in West Africa, hence our commitment to the Accra Initiative as a key policy for economic diversification, job creation, and growth. It's clearly the Economic Forum report of 2021 Travel Index ranks Ghana as the #1 tourism destination in West Africa. The potential contribution of the arts to GDP is therefore one that we must nurture and emphasize. Both domestic and international tourism are rebounding significantly from the severely disruptive impact of COVID on the travel and tour industry. Last year, from a low of 355,158 in 2020 to over 915,000. Domestic visitors to tourist sites are also up by over 55.7% during the period. All these have been made possible by deliberate marketing initiatives in of tourism, arts and culture and its agency, the Ghana Tourism Authority. The Beyond the Return initiative, which I launched in 2019 as a sequel to the Year of Return, has reignited excitement about Ghana as the hub and a mecca for the global Pan-African, a home every person of African descent must visit at least once in their lifetime. A few days ago, at a historic ceremony in Washington, D.C., we conferred Ghanaian citizenship on Mother Viola of the Tulsa Massacre of 1921. In May this year, I'll be chairing a tourism stakeholder retreat on rethinking tourism for national development and job creation. I asked the ministry and its agency, the Ghana Tourism Authority, to work on the modalities to bring together all the stakeholders within the industry. Over the next couple of years, my government will deepen even further our efforts to make tourism a strong primary source of growth for the economy. Mr. Speaker, Monday was 6 March, our Independence Day. And this year, we had the main celebrations in the Volta region. I made the decision to rotate the Independence Day anniversary celebration in order to enhance the cohesion and unity of our nation and to make it clear to all segments of our population that we are all part of the One Ghana project. I'm glad to inform the House that it was a happy and grand event set against the breathtaking, beautiful background of the Adaklu Mountains. Mr. Speaker, 60 years since our independence, Ghana has taken steady strides to become a more developed country. The few modern and nations for its people. Today's population of 32 million, with a growing stock of modern infrastructure, spanning drones to supply medicine, to the Ghana card which identifies each of us as proudly Ghanaian. As President, I have championed the innovation policies and the execution of projects to help improve the quality of life of the people. And God willing, I'll continue on a path that brings the most benefit to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, things may be dire today. Nevertheless, we must count our blessings. Our petrol stations have fuel, and we've been spared long winding queues to fuel our vehicles. Our markets and shops are, by the grace of God, well stocked, and we have not been faced with the prospect of the rationing of basic necessities such as fruits and vegetables. Our children's schooling has not been interrupted. We've continued to provide free SHS, free TVET, and paid teacher and nursing training allowances. Our electricity supply has been consistent, and we've been spared to do so during such a trying time. Our country continues to be stable. Throughout the clouds create shadows that momentarily seal the yearnful vision from sight. Such moments should not be ones in which despair takes over. Such moments call for strength of character, sense of purpose, and an abiding commitment to the general good. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, fellow Ghanaians, let us believe in ourselves and in our capacity to. This is a phase, and with every fiber of my being, I am certain that this too shall pass. We have done it before, and we will do it again. May God bless us all in our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. Mr. Speaker.